Welcome to Audio Mentors, the channel where we transform books full of wisdom into practical tools for your life. Here, you'll discover chapters packed with knowledge, strategies, and lessons you can apply in your daily life. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our audiobooks that will transform your life. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Introduction: The Meaning of Flow and the Pursuit of Happiness. Since ancient times, humanity has been in a constant pursuit of happiness. What does it mean to be happy? Is it a destination, a fleeting emotion, or a state we can access in our daily lives? In his book Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi introduces a revolutionary concept that not only redefines our relationship with happiness but also offers a practical guide to achieving it: the state of flow. Flow, according to Mihaly, is that moment when we are so immersed in an activity that everything else seems to fade away. During flow, worries disappear, time loses its meaning, and we are fully absorbed in what we're doing. It's a state of fulfillment that goes beyond superficial pleasures, connecting us to our deepest potential. Happiness as something internal. We often think happiness depends on external factors, achieving goals, acquiring material things, or gaining recognition from others. But Mihaly teaches us that true happiness is not something that happens to us, it's something we actively create. Happiness depends less on what happens outside of us and more on how we perceive and experience what happens, the author states. In other words, our ability to be happy is directly related to how we manage our attention, interpret our experiences, and find meaning in our activities. The state of flow, an optimal experience. Flow, also known as this optimal experience, occurs when our skills are perfectly balanced with the challenges we face. Imagine working on an exciting project, playing a sport you love, or having a deeply meaningful conversation. In these moments, we feel like everything falls into place and that we are exactly where we're supposed to be. That is the state of flow. The author describes flow as an experience in which our focus is completely absorbed in the task. Time seems to pass faster or slower. We feel total control over our actions. Anxiety disappears, and we enter a state of active calm. The activity itself is so rewarding that we don't need an external reward. Why seek flow in our daily lives? Flow is not only pleasurable but also has a direct impact on our quality of life. When we experience flow, we not only feel happy but also become more creative, productive, and resilient. Mihaly argues that making flow a regular part of our lives could be the key to a more meaningful existence. However, accessing flow requires intention. In a world full of distractions and external demands, it's easy to lose sight of what truly connects us to our essence. That's why the author invites us to explore our own experiences and identify the moments when we've felt flow, so we can learn to replicate them in the future. How to access flow. Mihaly emphasizes that flow doesn't depend on the type of activity but on how we engage with it. Some people find flow at work, others in art, music, or sports. Even the simplest tasks, like cooking or cleaning, can become sources of flow if approached with the right attitude. To access flow, it's important to choose activities that are challenging but achievable. Set clear and meaningful goals. Eliminate distractions that interrupt your focus. Be fully present in the moment. Flow as a path to happiness. The chapter concludes with a powerful reflection. Flow is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's how we can bring meaning to our lives, find purpose in what we do, and experience true happiness. Flow not only transforms our experience of the present, writes Mihaly, but it also helps us build a life that, when looking back, we can consider full and meaningful. This first chapter lays the foundation for a journey toward understanding how we can take control of our experiences, unleash our potential, and, above all, live fully. The state of flow, also known as the optimal experience, has revolutionized how we understand happiness and well-being. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi describes this state as a moment of deep focus and enjoyment, where the mind and body work in perfect harmony, fully immersed in a task. In this chapter, we will explore the foundations of flow, its essential characteristics, and why it is so important for living a fulfilling life. What is flow? Flow occurs when we are completely focused on what we are doing. It is a state where our skills are perfectly balanced with the challenge at hand. It's not too easy to avoid boredom, nor too difficult to prevent anxiety. It's the sweet spot where we feel fully engaged and accomplished. Mihaly defines flow as an experience that eliminates distractions. During flow, the mind doesn't wander. Concentration is fully directed toward the activity. Generates a loss of self-consciousness. We stop worrying about ourselves, others' judgments, or the future. Produces a sense of control. We feel capable of managing every aspect of the task, even if it's challenging. Is intrinsically rewarding. The act of performing the activity is so satisfying that external rewards are unnecessary. The necessary conditions for flow. Not every activity generates flow. Certain conditions must be met to experience this state. Clear goals. The activity must have a defined purpose. Knowing what we are trying to achieve gives us direction and focus. For example, in sports, the goal might be to win a match. In a creative task, it might be to complete a drawing or write a chapter. Immediate feedback. During flow, we need constant signals that indicate progress toward our goal. This allows us to adjust our actions in real time. A musician, for instance, can sense they are playing well based on the sound of their instrument. Balance between challenge and skills. This is the most important condition. If the task is too easy, we get bored. If it's too difficult, we feel frustrated. Flow arises when we find the perfect balance. The impact of flow on the mind and body. When we are in flow, something fascinating happens in our mind. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-criticism and analysis, slows down, allowing us to act more spontaneously and creatively. This phenomenon is called transient hypofrontality. Additionally, during flow, the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This not only makes us feel good but also enhances our ability to learn and retain information. Physically, flow can boost our energy and reduce stress. By being fully concentrated, the body operates more efficiently, minimizing mental and emotional fatigue. Flow in different areas of life. Mihaly argues that flow is not limited to specific activities. It can be experienced in any area of life, provided the right conditions are present. At work. While work is often seen as tedious, it is one of the most conducive environments for flow. Clear goals, constant challenges, and opportunities for immediate feedback are common in many professions. In leisure, flow is also found in recreational activities such as sports, music, art, or even video games. These activities are often highly engaging and offer the perfect balance between challenge and skills. In relationships, meaningful interactions with others can also generate flow. A deep conversation, teamwork, or sharing a creative activity with someone are moments where flow can flourish. Why flow is essential for a happy life. Mihaly explains that flow is essential because it connects us to the present moment. Often, our minds are trapped in worries about the past or the future, preventing us from enjoying the here and now. Flow, on the other hand, anchors us in the present, allowing us to experience life more fully. Additionally, flow helps us grow. Every time we face and overcome a challenge, we expand our skills and build our confidence. This motivates us to seek out more challenging and rewarding experiences, creating a cycle of continuous growth. An invitation to flow. The chapter concludes with an invitation. Reflect on the activities that have made you experience flow in the past. What are those tasks that make you lose track of time, fill you with energy, and make you feel completely alive? By identifying these activities, you can begin to incorporate more flow into your daily life. Mihaly reminds us that flow is not a luxury but a necessity. It is the state in which we can find the greatest satisfaction, peak performance, and, above all, a deeper connection with ourselves. The pursuit of flow not only transforms how we work and play but also how we live. Flow is not just an experience. It is a tool for creating a more meaningful and happy life. Chapter 3. How the mind works during flow. The state of flow is not only a pleasurable experience but also a fascinating psychological phenomenon. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi delves into how the mind functions during flow and what makes it so unique and powerful. When we experience flow, our perception, thoughts, and emotions align in a way that enhances our concentration, creativity, and enjoyment. Total focus on the present moment. One of the most remarkable features of flow is the total concentration on the task at hand. Mihaly describes this state as channeled attention, where the mind is fully focused on the present, leaving out distractions, worries, and irrelevant thoughts. During flow, self-criticism disappears. We stop worrying about how others perceive us or about our mistakes. Instead, we focus on making progress with the task. Mental noise is reduced, repetitive thoughts and usual distractions fade away, allowing us to act with greater clarity and effectiveness. Mihaly explains that this focused attention not only improves our performance but also generates a sense of calm and control. The balance between the conscious and subconscious mind. In the state of flow, the conscious and subconscious mind work in perfect harmony. The conscious mind handles planning and organizing, while the subconscious executes actions automatically and fluidly. For example, a musician improvising on their instrument doesn't need to consciously think about each note they play. Their subconscious takes over, drawing from years of practice. This combination of conscious planning and automatic action creates the sense of effortlessness that characterizes flow. The disappearance of the sense of self. Another fascinating phenomenon of flow is the temporary loss of self-awareness. During flow, the part of our brain responsible for self-consciousness turns off partially. This doesn't mean we stop existing, but rather that our attention is no longer focused on ourselves and is entirely absorbed by the task. Mihaly describes this as a fusion between the doer and the action, where there is no separation between what we do and who we are. This loss of ego is not only liberating but also allows for a deeper connection with the activity and the environment. How the perception of time changes. In the state of flow, the perception of time changes drastically. Some describe it as time flying by, while others feel it slows down. This phenomenon occurs because our attention is so fully absorbed by the task that the brain ignores the internal clock. Mihaly explains that this alteration of time is one of the reasons flow feels so special. By disconnecting from time, we free ourselves from external pressures and expectations, allowing us to fully enjoy the moment. The emotional benefits of flow. During flow, the brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which are associated with pleasure and well-being. This not only makes us feel good in the moment but also creates a positive residue effect that lasts even after the flow experience ends. Mihaly notes that people who experience flow regularly tend to be happier, more resilient, and less prone to anxiety or depression. This is because flow gives us a sense of purpose and achievement, reinforcing our self-esteem and confidence in our abilities. How to train the mind to enter flow. Mihaly argues that while flow may seem spontaneous, it is possible to train the mind to achieve it more frequently. To do so, he proposes the following strategies. Set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve before starting an activity. Clear objectives provide focus and direction, which are essential for entering flow. Choose the right level of challenge. Seek tasks that match your skill level, neither too easy nor too difficult. Gradually increase the difficulty as your abilities grow to maintain the balance needed for flow. Minimize distractions. Create an environment that allows you to concentrate fully on the task. Turn off notifications, find a quiet space, and remove any potential interruptions. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Immerse yourself in the activity itself rather than worrying about the results. Enjoying the journey enhances your likelihood of entering flow. Practice mindfulness. Developing a habit of being present in the moment can make it easier to achieve the focused attention necessary for flow. Meditation and mindful breathing are excellent tools for this. Engage in regular practice. The more you practice a skill, the more comfortable and confident you become. This lays the foundation for automaticity and reduces the mental effort required, enabling flow. By incorporating these strategies into your daily routine, you can create more opportunities to experience flow and harness its benefits for both personal growth and well-being. Master your skills. The more competent you become in a task, the easier it is to enter flow. This requires consistent practice and dedication. Set clear goals. Having a defined objective helps focus your attention and avoid distractions. Minimize interruptions. Create an environment that fosters concentration by eliminating distractions such as your phone or notifications. Practice mindfulness. Techniques like meditation can help train your mind to stay present, making it easier to access flow. The importance of flow in our evolution. Mihaly concludes the chapter by explaining that flow is not just a tool for improving individual performance but also an evolutionary advantage. People who can deeply focus and overcome challenges are more likely to adapt, learn, and thrive in their environments. Flow, Mihaly says, is nature's way of rewarding us for using our abilities to their fullest. This chapter makes it clear that flow is not just a pleasant experience but a mental state that transforms our relationship with work, learning, and life itself. With the right strategies, anyone can learn to access flow and enjoy its benefits, making this state an essential element for a fuller and more meaningful life. Chapter 4. The balance between challenges and skills. The state of flow does not happen by chance. One of the fundamental keys to experiencing it is finding the perfect balance between the challenges we face and our ability to overcome them. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi delves into how this delicate balance is the starting point for entering flow and why it is essential for feeling fulfilled and connected to our activities. The flow model, challenges versus skills. Mihaly introduces a simple yet powerful model. Flow occurs when our skills match the level of the challenge we face. If the challenge is too low compared to our skills, we feel bored and unmotivated. On the other hand, if the challenge is too high, we feel anxious and frustrated. Flow arises in the golden zone, where the level of challenge is just high enough to keep us engaged but not so high as to overwhelm our abilities. 3 possible states outside of flow. Boredom occurs when our skills far exceed the challenge. A task that is too easy or repetitive leaves us disconnected and dissatisfied. Anxiety happens when the challenge exceeds our current skills. We feel insecure, stressed, and likely to avoid the task. Apathy results from very low challenges and minimal skills. In this state, we feel completely uninterested and indifferent to the activity. Flow as a dynamic experience. The author explains that flow is not a fixed state but a dynamic one. As we develop new skills or face greater challenges, the flow zone shifts. This means we must constantly adjust to continue experiencing it. For example, a beginner musician may experience flow while learning a simple melody. But as they improve, they will need more challenging pieces to maintain their interest and engagement. The same principle applies to any area, from work to sports to daily life. How to adjust the balance between challenge and skill. To enter flow, we need to find ways to adjust the variables of challenge and skill. Mihaly offers several practical strategies to achieve this. Increase your skills. If the challenge feels too great, invest time in learning and improving your abilities. Knowledge and consistent practice are fundamental to closing the gap between what you can do and what you need to do. For example, if you feel anxious about public speaking, take a speech course or practice in front of close friends. Reduce the level of challenge. If the challenge is overwhelming, break it into smaller, manageable steps. This not only reduces anxiety but also builds confidence as you progress. For instance, if you have a complex project to complete, break it into individual tasks that you can tackle one at a time. Increase the challenge. If you feel bored or unmotivated, find ways to make the task more interesting or difficult. This might involve setting personal goals, competing against yourself, or exploring new approaches to the activity. For example, if you find your exercise routine monotonous, challenge yourself to beat your personal best or try a new workout technique. These strategies highlight the importance of continuously calibrating the balance between challenges and skills to maintain flow. By intentionally adjusting these elements, you can create more opportunities to experience flow, leading to greater satisfaction, growth, and fulfillment in all areas of life. For example, if running on the treadmill feels monotonous, try setting a new speed or distance record. Find meaning in the task. Mihaly emphasizes that beyond the technical balance, it is crucial to find a sense of purpose in what we do. When an activity holds personal significance, we are more willing to put effort into it, which makes flow more accessible. Flow and personal growth. Mihaly argues that one of the greatest benefits of flow is its ability to drive us toward growth. Each time we face and overcome a slightly greater challenge, we expand our skills and build confidence. This process not only helps us experience flow more often but also prepares us to tackle increasingly greater challenges in the future. This cycle of challenge and skill is what enables artists, athletes, and professionals to reach exceptional levels of performance. However, it is also available to anyone willing to commit to the process of continuous improvement. The impact of flow on satisfaction. When we achieve a balance between challenges and skills, we not only experience flow but also feel a profound sense of satisfaction. This state gives us a sense of control over our lives, connects us to our purpose, and helps us enjoy the present moment. Mihaly points out that many people spend much of their lives trapped in apathy or boredom because they do not seek meaningful challenges or strive to improve their skills. By identifying and adjusting these variables, we can transform even the most mundane tasks into opportunities for growth and vitality. A reflection to put into practice. The chapter concludes with an invitation to reflect on our daily activities. Mihaly suggests asking ourselves, when was the last time I experienced flow? What challenges motivate me to give my best? What skills do I need to develop to face my current challenges? By answering these questions, we can begin to make more conscious decisions about how to design our lives to experience flow more frequently. Flow not only enhances our productivity, Mihaly writes, but also connects us to the deepest joy of living. By balancing challenges and skills, we not only grow as individuals but also discover the true meaning of well-being. This chapter leaves us with a clear lesson. Flow is not an accident but the result of an intentional balance between what we do and what we are capable of doing. By adjusting that balance, we can open the door to a more fulfilling, creative, and satisfying life. Chapter 5. The role of clear goals in flow. Flow does not emerge spontaneously or haphazardly. One of the keys to entering this state is having clear goals that provide direction and purpose to our actions. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi examines how goals help us focus, structure our experience, and maximize our chances of achieving flow. Why goals are essential for flow. Mihaly explains that clear goals provide a sense of purpose and direction. When we have a specific objective, we know where to direct our energy and how to measure our progress. This allows us to fully concentrate on the task, eliminating distractions and doubts. The author highlights 3 main reasons why goals are fundamental to flow. They focus our attention. A defined objective helps us channel all our mental energy into the task, setting aside irrelevant thoughts. They give meaning to our actions. Goals transform mundane activities into purposeful experiences. For example, running becomes more rewarding if our objective is to improve endurance or achieve a personal best. They provide immediate feedback. Clear goals allow us to assess whether we are making progress or need to adjust our approach. This constant feedback is crucial for maintaining flow. Characteristics of goals that facilitate flow. Not all goals have the same impact. Mihaly identifies the qualities that goals must have to generate flow. Specificity. Vague or general goals are ineffective. Instead of saying, I want to improve at work, a clearer goal would be, I want to increase my productivity by completing 3 key tasks each day. Achievability. Goals should be challenging but not impossible. If the goal is too easy, it won't capture our attention. If it's too difficult, it will lead to frustration. 3. Division into steps. A large goal can feel overwhelming, but breaking it into smaller steps makes it manageable. For example, if you want to learn to play an instrument, you could start by practicing simple scales before tackling a full piece. 4. Personal connection. Goals should have personal significance. If they don't matter to us, it's unlikely we'll sustain the level of commitment necessary to enter a state of flow. Short-term and long-term goals. Mihaly distinguishes between short-term and long-term goals, emphasizing that both are essential for sustained flow. Short-term goals. These help us stay focused on the present. For instance, completing a book chapter or solving a specific problem. Long-term goals. These provide a sense of overall direction and motivation. Examples include learning a language, developing a skill, or improving one's health. The author explains that short-term goals often generate flow, while long-term goals help align our activities with a greater purpose. How goals structure experience. Mihaly argues that goals not only help us concentrate but also structure our experiences, making time feel more meaningful. Without a clear purpose, our minds tend to wander, leading to boredom or anxiety. Goals act as an anchor, keeping us connected to the present moment. For example, an athlete training for a competition isn't just exercising, they're advancing toward a specific objective. Each training session has a clear purpose, transforming the activity into a source of satisfaction and motivation. The importance of feedback. In addition to providing direction, goals also generate flow by offering constant feedback. When we know whether we're making progress or need to adjust our approach, we can stay engaged with the task. The author notes that feedback can be external, such as results in a sport, or internal, such as a sense of progress in a creative activity. In either case, this feedback keeps us connected to the activity and motivated to continue. Examples of goals that generate flow. Mihaly provides several examples of how clear goals can generate flow in different contexts. At work, completing a project within a specific deadline, solving a technical challenge, or improving efficiency in a daily task. In leisure, beating your personal time in a race, learning a new song on the guitar, or finishing a puzzle. In relationships, actively listening in a conversation, planning a special activity with a loved one, or resolving a conflict constructively. How to set goals to maximize flow. The chapter concludes with practical tips for setting goals that facilitate flow. Write down your goals. Putting them in writing helps clarify what you want to achieve and allows you to track your progress. Make them specific and measurable. Clearly define what you want to accomplish and how you'll know you've succeeded. Adjust your goals regularly. As you develop new skills or face new challenges, update your goals to stay motivated. Celebrate achievements. Recognize and celebrate your progress, even the smallest steps. This reinforces your motivation and encourages you to keep moving forward. Clear goals are the engine of flow, Mihaly writes. They give us direction, purpose, and a sense of accomplishment that transforms our activities into deeply satisfying experiences. By the end of this chapter, the message is clear: goals not only structure our lives but are also the key to unlocking flow. By defining clear and meaningful objectives, we can turn daily tasks into sources of motivation and happiness, connecting with the present and our deeper purpose. Chapter 6. Concentration, a pillar of the flow state. Flow is not possible without deep concentration. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how focused attention allows us to enter flow, why our ability to concentrate is so important, and how we can train it in a world full of distractions. Flow requires us to direct all our mental energy toward a task, eliminating anything irrelevant to the present moment. Attention as a limited resource. The author begins by explaining that our attention is a finite resource. We can only process a limited amount of information at any given moment. When we divide our attention between multiple tasks, not only does our efficiency decrease, but we also lose the opportunity to experience flow. During flow, all our attention is directed toward the task at hand. This not only enhances our performance but also creates a sense of control and enjoyment. Focused attention acts as a filter, allowing us to ignore distractions and concentrate on what truly matters. Flow requires our full attention, writes Mihaly. When we are fully present, we set aside worries and immerse ourselves in the activity. How flow organizes attention. Mihaly describes flow as a state where our attention is perfectly organized. This means every thought and action aligns with the purpose of the task. There is no room for doubt, distractions, or external concerns. For instance, a mountain climber has no time to dwell on personal problems. Their attention is entirely focused on each movement and their surroundings. This total concentration not only enhances their performance but also allows them to fully enjoy the experience. The author explains that by organizing our attention, flow liberates us from mental chaos and helps us find clarity and purpose. The enemies of concentration. Mihaly identifies the main obstacles that prevent us from concentrating and, consequently, entering flow. External distractions, noise, constant interruptions, and digital notifications make it difficult to focus. Internal worries, anxiety, self-doubt, and repetitive thoughts can divert our attention from the task at hand. Lack of motivation. When we're not genuinely interested in what we're doing, maintaining focus becomes challenging. The author emphasizes that to experience flow, we must be aware of these obstacles and take steps to minimize them. How to train concentration to facilitate flow. Mihaly offers practical strategies to enhance our ability to concentrate and make it easier to enter flow. Create a conducive environment. Eliminate physical and digital distractions from your workspace or activity area. Ensure the setting is designed to support your focus. Set clear goals. Knowing exactly what you want to achieve will help you direct your attention to the task and avoid distractions. Practice mindfulness. Techniques such as meditation and mindful breathing can train your mind to stay present and reduce distractions. Divide tasks into time blocks. Work in defined time intervals, e.g., 25 minutes, and take short breaks to recharge your focus. This method, known as the Pomodoro technique, is particularly useful for maintaining attention. Find meaning in the task. When you understand the purpose of what you're doing, it's easier to dedicate your full attention. Connect the activity to your values or long-term goals. The reward of total concentration. When we fully concentrate on a task, something fascinating happens. Our mind enters a state of active calm. Although we are working intensely, we don't feel stressed or fatigued. Instead, we experience a sense of control and enjoyment unique to the flow state. Additionally, complete concentration allows us to be more creative and solve problems more effectively. By eliminating mental noise, we can access ideas and solutions that might not otherwise be apparent. Flow as an antidote to multitasking. Mihaly criticizes the culture of multitasking, arguing that trying to do many things at once prevents us from experiencing flow. Multitasking not only reduces our productivity but also fragments our attention, making it impossible to enjoy what we're doing. Flow requires us to be fully present, the author writes. When we try to do too many things at the same time, we lose our connection to the moment. Exercises to strengthen your concentration. Mihaly suggests simple exercises you can incorporate into your daily life to train your attention. Observe your breathing. Spend a few minutes each day focusing on your breath. This will help calm your mind and train your focus. Perform a task with full attention. Choose an activity, such as washing dishes or walking, and do it with complete attention, observing every detail. Challenge your mind. Engage in games or activities that require concentration, such as chess, puzzles, or learning a musical instrument. Flow as a conscious practice. The chapter concludes with a reflection on the importance of training our minds to focus on the present. Mihaly explains that while flow might seem like a spontaneous state, it is actually the result of conscious practice. When we learn to concentrate deeply, Mihaly writes, we open the door to experiences that not only enhance our performance but also enrich our lives. This chapter leaves us with a key lesson. Concentration is the bridge to flow. By training our minds to focus our attention, we can experience the joy and purpose that come with being fully immersed in what we do. Concentration, like any skill, can be developed with intention and practice, transforming our relationship with work, leisure, and life itself. Chapter 7. Flow and the Perception of Time. One of the most fascinating aspects of the flow state is how it transforms our perception of time. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explains why time seems to dissolve during flow, what happens in our minds during these moments, and how this experience changes our relationship with the present. The disconnection from time in flow. When we are in flow, time ceases to be a conscious concern. Sometimes it feels like it flies by, while at other times it seems to stand still. This phenomenon, which Mihaly describes as a distortion of time, occurs because our attention is completely absorbed in the task at hand. The author notes, when deeply immersed in an activity, our minds stop processing time in the usual way. The absence of external and internal distractions allows us to focus exclusively on the present. For example, an artist engrossed in their painting might lose track of hours while focusing on every stroke. The same happens to a gamer immersed in the rhythm of play or a programmer tackling a complex problem. The subjective perception of time. Mihaly argues that time is largely a mental construct. We experience it differently depending on our attention and level of engagement with an activity. During flow, time seems to fly. This happens when we enjoy the activity so much that we stop paying attention to its duration. It's common in creative, sports, or leisure activities. Time seems to slow down. In high-risk activities such as extreme sports, time can feel slower due to the intensity of concentration and the importance of every action. Both effects reflect how flow alters our perception of time, fully connecting us to the present moment. The mind and absolute presence. One reason flow is so transformative is that it forces us to live in the present. When we are in flow, we don't dwell on the past or worry about the future. Our mental energy is entirely directed toward the task at hand. Mihaly describes this as a state of absolute presence, where all our attention is focused on the here and now. This total focus not only enhances our performance but also gives us a sense of freedom and satisfaction. Why losing track of time makes us happy? The author argues that losing track of time is one of the reasons flow makes us so happy. When we stop worrying about the clock, we free ourselves from external pressures and connect with the intrinsic purpose of what we're doing. In flow, we're not thinking about what's next or what we've left behind. We're fully living in the moment. This temporal disconnection allows us to experience a form of happiness that isn't tied to external circumstances. Flow as an escape from temporal stress. Mihaly explains that our relationship with time in daily life is often a source of stress. We constantly feel like we are racing against the clock or that there isn't enough time to do everything we want. Flow provides a respite from this pressure, allowing us to experience a sense of control and calm. By disconnecting from linear time, we can focus on enjoying the activity instead of worrying about what comes next. How to generate flow in time-bound activities. Although flow often involves losing track of time, it can also occur in activities with time constraints, such as a sports match or an exam. The key is to shift our relationship with time, viewing it as a framework for focusing on the present moment rather than a source of pressure. Mihaly offers some tips to facilitate flow in such situations. Break the activity into manageable segments. Set clear goals for each time period. Focus on quality, not quantity. Instead of worrying about how much time you have, focus on making the most of the available time. Eliminate distractions. Minimize interruptions to keep your attention fully on the task. How to use time perception to your advantage. Mihaly suggests that we can leverage our subjective perception of time to design more rewarding activities. For example, if you want time to pass quickly, choose activities that fully absorb you, such as a hobby or a creative project. If you want to slow down time, engage in activities that require mindfulness, such as meditation or spending time in nature. The author argues that by understanding how our perception of time works, we can adjust our experiences to make them more meaningful and satisfying. Flow as a new way to experience time. The chapter concludes with a reflection on how flow offers us a new perspective on time. Mihaly explains that by entering flow, we stop being slaves to the clock and become masters of our experience. Flow not only transforms how we work or play, writes Mihaly, but also how we live and perceive time. It connects us with the present, offering a freedom that few experiences can provide. This chapter leaves us with a powerful message. By seeking flow, we not only find happiness and productivity but also learn to relate to time in a more conscious and enriching way. Flow invites us to fully live each moment, freeing us from the constraints of time and connecting us to the now. Chapter 8. Flow at Work, Finding Fulfillment in What You Do. Flow doesn't just happen during leisure or creative activities. It can also be experienced at work. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how work can become a source of satisfaction and meaning if we learn to integrate the state of flow into our daily tasks. Although many people view work as an obligation, the author argues that it can also be a path to personal fulfillment. Work as an opportunity for flow. Mihaly begins by suggesting that, while we often associate work with stress and demands, it is also one of the most conducive contexts for flow. Work, like flow, has characteristics such as clear goals. Most jobs involve defined objectives that give us direction. Constant feedback. At work, we often evaluate our progress immediately, whether through results or feedback from others. Challenges match to our skills. Work tasks often require a balance between what we already know and what we need to learn. These similarities make work an ideal environment for experiencing flow, provided we approach it with the right mindset. The problem with how work is perceived. However, Mihaly acknowledges that many people do not experience flow at work because they see it as a burden. This negative perception blocks our ability to enjoy and engage with what we do. The author argues that flow does not depend so much on the type of work we do but on how we view it. If we learn to find meaning in our tasks and set personal goals within them, we can transform our work experience. Work can be a source of stress or satisfaction, depending on our attitude toward it, writes Mihaly. How to experience flow at work. The author proposes several strategies to integrate flow into our work lives. Set personal goals. Even if your work has imposed objectives, set your own challenges within the tasks. For example, if you work in customer service, you can set a goal to improve the experience of every person you assist. 2. Find meaning in your tasks. Reflect on how your work contributes to something greater, whether on a personal, organizational, or social level. Even the simplest tasks can acquire meaning if we connect them to a greater purpose. 3. Organize your time efficiently. Plan your tasks to dedicate quality time to those that require more concentration. Minimize interruptions to stay focused. 4. Embrace challenges as opportunities. Instead of viewing problems as obstacles, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. This shift in perspective can transform a difficult task into a growth experience. 5. Seek feedback. Ask for feedback on your performance to adjust your approach and improve continuously. Constant feedback is key to keeping us engaged and motivated. Examples of flow in different professions. Mihaly illustrates how flow can be experienced in different types of work. In creative jobs, a designer may lose track of time while creating a project that combines their skills with a technical challenge. In manual work, a carpenter may experience flow while building a piece of furniture, focusing on each detail. In administrative jobs, an analyst may enter flow while organizing data and finding patterns that solve a problem. The author emphasizes that flow is not limited to specific professions. What matters is how we approach the task and whether we manage to fully focus on it. Flow and intrinsic motivation. Mihaly explains that flow at work largely depends on our ability to connect with intrinsic motivation. This means enjoying the process of working, not just the results or external rewards. For example, a chef may find satisfaction in the act of cooking, from preparing the ingredients to plating the dish, rather than focusing solely on the customer's reaction. When we enjoy the process, work stops being an obligation and becomes a source of satisfaction, says Mihaly. The impact of flow on work performance. Flow not only enhances our experience of work but also increases our productivity, creativity, and the quality of results. By focusing completely on the task, we eliminate distractions and make the most of our skills. The author argues that companies that promote flow among their employees not only get better results but also create healthier and more motivating work environments. How leaders can foster flow in their teams. Mihaly dedicates a section of the chapter to leaders and managers, explaining how they can create conditions that favor flow in their teams. Set clear and achievable goals. Help employees understand what is expected of them and how they can achieve it. Offer constructive feedback. Recognize achievements and point out areas for improvement in a positive way. Provide autonomy. Allow employees to make decisions about how to do their work. Balance challenges and skills. Assign tasks that are challenging yet manageable, adjusting them according to each person's abilities. An invitation to transform work. The chapter concludes with a call to reflect on our relationship with work. Mihaly invites us to ask ourselves, what aspects of my work do I enjoy the most? How can I make my tasks more meaningful? What changes can I implement to experience more flow in my workday? Work doesn't have to be a burden, writes Mihaly. When we approach it with intention and purpose, it can become one of the richest sources of flow and satisfaction in our lives. This chapter makes it clear that, while we can't always change the type of work we do, we can change how we experience it. By seeking flow in our daily tasks, we not only improve our performance, but also, we transform our relationship with work into a constant source of learning, growth, and enjoyment. Chapter 9. Flow in Leisure, Generating Happiness in Our Free Time. Flow not only transforms our work experience, but also the way we enjoy our leisure time. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how we can find flow in our recreational and leisure activities, and why this is essential for our happiness and well-being. The problem of passive leisure. Mihaly begins by pointing out that many people see leisure as an opportunity to disconnect and rest, which is natural. However, much of our free time is spent on passive activities like watching television, scrolling through social media, or simply doing nothing. While these activities provide temporary relief, they rarely lead to lasting satisfaction or authentic happiness. Passive leisure rarely provides the conditions for flow, writes Mihaly. To find true joy in our free time, we must seek active and challenging activities that fully engage us. Active leisure as a source of flow. In contrast, leisure activities that require skill and concentration can be a rich source of flow. These activities allow us to disconnect from daily concerns while immersing ourselves in something meaningful. Some examples include practicing sports or exercising, learning a new skill, like playing an instrument or cooking, engaging in creative activities such as painting, writing, or dancing, participating in games that challenge our abilities, such as chess or strategic video games. The author explains that these activities, by requiring effort and attention, create the necessary conditions for flow, clear goals, immediate feedback, and a balance between challenge and skill. How to transform leisure into a flow experience. Mihaly offers strategies to turn free time into an opportunity for experiencing flow. Choose activities that excite you. Look for activities that spark your interest and motivate you to learn or improve. These activities are often the ones that generate flow most easily. Set personal goals. Even in recreational activities, having a clear goal can increase your commitment. For example, if you're learning to play the guitar, aim to master a specific song rather than just playing randomly. Eliminate distractions. To enter flow, it's essential to dedicate your full attention to the activity. Find a quiet space where you can concentrate fully. Combine leisure with learning. Mihaly suggests that activities that challenge us and teach us something new are especially effective for generating flow. The impact of flow in leisure and happiness. When we experience flow in our free time, we gain benefits that go beyond immediate enjoyment. We recharge our mental energy. Flow activities help us disconnect from stress and regain clarity. We develop new skills. By choosing activities that challenge us, we grow personally and emotionally. We strengthen our self-esteem. Achieving goals in leisure reinforces our confidence in our abilities. The author explains that this type of active leisure is especially important in a world where stress and emotional disconnection are common. Flow in group activities. Mihaly also highlights how group leisure activities can be a powerful source of flow. For example, participating in team sports, organizing a dinner where each person contributes something creative, joining clubs or communities with shared interests, such as hiking, reading, or photography. These experiences not only allow us to enjoy flow but also strengthen our social connections, which are essential for our well-being. Flow in nature. Another important source of flow in leisure is contact with nature. Mihaly suggests activities such as walking through the forest, climbing mountains, or swimming in a lake. These experiences not only provide physical challenges but also connect us with a sense of awe and tranquility that is hard to find in other contexts. Nature has a unique way of capturing our attention and reconnecting us with what is essential, writes Mihaly. The risk of not finding flow in leisure. The author warns that when we spend too much time on passive or meaningless activities, it's easy to fall into boredom, apathy, or even frustration. This can create a negative cycle where free time feels like a burden instead of an opportunity to revitalize ourselves. In contrast, when we use leisure to experience flow, not only do we enjoy our free time more, but we also return to our daily responsibilities with more energy and motivation. How to identify flow activities in your free time. Mihaly suggests making an inventory of the activities you enjoy most in your free time and asking yourself, what activities make me lose track of time? What tasks challenge me enough to keep me focused? What activities leave me with a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction? By identifying these experiences, you can prioritize them and make them a regular part of your life. An invitation to redesign leisure. The chapter concludes with an invitation to reflect on how we use our free time. Mihaly reminds us that leisure doesn't have to be just a break between obligations. It can be a constant source of happiness, growth, and purpose. Leisure is an opportunity to experience the best of life, writes Mihaly. When we approach it with intention and seek activities that generate flow, our free time becomes a tool for living more fully. This chapter leaves us with a clear message. Flow in leisure is not a luxury, it's a necessity. By transforming our free time into an active and meaningful experience, we not only find happiness in the moment but also enrich our lives overall. Chapter 10. The experience of flow in creativity. Flow and creativity are deeply connected. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi guides us through the role that flow plays in creative processes and how we can harness it to unlock our creative potential. Whether we are artists, writers, scientists, or simply people looking for innovative solutions in our daily lives, flow is a powerful tool for unleashing our imagination and focus. Flow as a driver of creativity. Mihaly explains that flow is the optimal state for creativity because it removes internal barriers that often block our ideas, such as fear of failure, excessive self-criticism, and distractions. During flow, our mind is fully focused on the task, allowing us to explore new ideas and connect concepts in ways we wouldn't normally consider. In flow, writes Mihaly, creativity becomes a natural process, free from the limitations imposed by our doubts or concerns. Characteristics of flow in creativity. Flow in creative activities has specific characteristics. Total concentration. Attention is fully directed at the creative task, making it easier to generate original ideas. Loss of self-consciousness. During flow, we don't worry about how our ideas will be judged. This allows us to experiment and take creative risks. Immediate feedback. In creativity, each idea or action generates an immediate response, keeping the flow cycle going. Intrinsic enjoyment. The act of creation itself is rewarding, regardless of the final result. How flow fuels innovation. Flow not only helps us become more productive but also more innovative. During this state, the mind works in a non-linear way, making unexpected connections between ideas. Mihaly notes that many great innovations in science, art, and technology arose during moments of flow. For example, a scientist may find a solution while deeply immersed in an experiment, or a writer might discover an unexpected plot twist while writing fluently. How to generate flow in creative activities. Mihaly offers practical strategies to experience flow in creativity. Create a conducive environment. Find a place where you can concentrate without interruptions. Ensure that the environment fosters your inspiration and comfort. Set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve in your creative session, whether it's advancing a project, exploring an idea, or simply practicing a skill. Choose appropriate challenges. Creative tasks should be challenging enough to keep you engaged, but not so difficult that they become frustrating. Maintain an exploratory mindset. Instead of aiming for perfect results, allow ideas to flow freely. Creativity thrives on experimentation and curiosity. Dedicate uninterrupted time. Set aside blocks of time to work on your creative projects without distractions. Flow requires continuity to fully develop. The role of learning in creativity and flow. Mihaly emphasizes that creative flow doesn't emerge out of nowhere. It requires a solid foundation of skills and knowledge. The more you master the tools and techniques in your field, the easier it becomes to enter flow and generate original ideas. For example, an experienced painter can improvise with colors and shapes because they've mastered basic techniques, while a beginner may feel overwhelmed. The author suggests that investing time in learning and practicing is an essential part of the creative process. Creativity in everyday activities. Creative flow is not limited to artists or scientists. Mihaly argues that anyone can experience flow by approaching everyday tasks creatively. For example, experimenting with new recipes in the kitchen, solving problems at work from an innovative approach, creating personal projects, such as uniquely organizing a space at home. The author explains that by incorporating creativity into our daily activities, we not only make life more interesting but also find more opportunities to experience flow. The impact of creative flow on well-being. Mihaly points out that creative flow not only helps us generate ideas but also improves our mental and emotional health. During flow, we feel connected to our purpose, reducing stress and increasing happiness. Additionally, creativity allows us to express our emotions and explore our inner world, which can be deeply therapeutic. Exercises to foster creative flow. The chapter concludes with practical exercises that we can use to boost flow in our creative activities. Eliminate perfectionism. Spend time creating without self-judgment. Make quick sketches, write without editing, or experiment with ideas without worrying about the outcome. Seek inspiration in the ordinary. Observe your surroundings and find beauty or ideas in simple things. Challenge yourself with limits. Work under restrictions, such as using only certain materials or limiting your time. Often, limits encourage innovation. Collaborate with others. Sharing ideas with people from different perspectives can inspire you and enrich your creative process. Final reflection. Flow and creativity are natural allies that allow us to unlock our potential and find a deeper connection with ourselves and the world. Mihaly reminds us that by seeking flow in our creative activities, we not only improve our skills but also enrich our lives. Creativity is not just a means to accomplish new things, writes Mihaly. It's a way to experience life with greater intensity, purpose, and joy. This chapter makes it clear that creativity is not a luxury reserved for a few. It is a universal human ability that, when integrated with flow, can transform how we work, play, and live. Chapter 11. Relationships and Flow. How to connect deeply with others. Flow is not only experienced in individual activities, it can also arise in our relationships with others. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how human connections can become a powerful source of flow and happiness. Whether in friendship, teamwork, or love, flow helps us build deeper and more meaningful connections. Flow as a shared experience. Mihaly explains that, while we often think of flow as something individual, it can also occur in group or relational situations. This happens when two or more people are completely immersed in a shared activity, aligned in their goals, focused, and enjoying the moment. Examples of flow in relationships include a synchronized sports team during a match, a deep conversation where both participants are fully present, a couple who lose themselves in the rhythm of dancing together. Flow in relationships not only enriches the shared experience, writes Mihaly, but also strengthens the emotional bonds between people. Characteristics of flow in relationships. Flow in relationships occurs when certain conditions are met. Shared goals. The people involved work together toward a common objective, generating a sense of unity. Fluid communication. There is a constant and open exchange of ideas, emotions, or movements, such as in a debate or a musical performance. Mutual trust. People trust each other's abilities and intentions, allowing for unrestricted interaction. Full engagement. Everyone involved is completely present, leaving aside external or internal distractions. Flow in communication. Mihaly dedicates a section of the chapter to how flow can occur in conversations. He describes those talks where we lose track of time, feel deeply connected to the other person, and emerge with a sense of understanding and closeness. This happens when both people are interested in the topic and actively listen. The conversation flows naturally, without interruptions or judgments. There is a dynamic exchange where each person contributes something meaningful. Mihaly points out that flow conversations not only strengthen relationships but also help us learn and grow. Flow in teamwork. Flow can also arise in the context of teams, whether in work, sports, or collaborative projects. When a group of people is aligned in their goals and each member contributes their skills, the team can enter a collective state of flow. To foster flow in teams, Mihaly suggests: define clear, shared goals. All members should understand and commit to the common goal. Assign appropriate roles. Each person should have a role that matches their skills and is crucial to the team's success. Encourage open communication. A constant flow of feedback helps maintain focus and synchronization. Create a trusting environment. When team members support and value each other, it is easier to experience flow. Flow in romantic relationships. Mihaly argues that flow is also essential in romantic relationships. Couples who share meaningful and challenging experiences are more likely to maintain a deep and satisfying connection. For example, a couple traveling together and facing new challenges along the way may experience flow. Sharing a hobby, such as dancing or cooking, allows couples to enjoy the moment and strengthen their bond. The author emphasizes that flow in romantic relationships does not happen automatically. It requires effort and commitment to find activities that both partners enjoy and can collaborate on. How to foster flow in relationships. Mihaly offers practical strategies to create flow conditions in our human connections. Establish shared activities. Find hobbies, projects, or goals that you and the other person can enjoy together. Practice active listening. Make a conscious effort to be present in conversations, showing genuine interest and avoiding distractions. Seek joint challenges. Experiences that require mutual effort, such as solving problems or exploring something new, tend to generate flow. Eliminate judgment and criticism. Foster a supportive and trusting environment where people feel comfortable expressing themselves. The impact of flow on relationship quality. Mihaly explains that relationships that generate flow are more resilient and satisfying. This is because shared experiences strengthen emotional bonds. Effective communication reduces misunderstandings and conflicts. Common goals foster a sense of purpose and unity. The author also notes that flow relationships significantly contribute to our overall well-being, as they provide support, joy, and a sense of belonging. How flow transforms human connections. Mihaly concludes the chapter by explaining that flow in relationships not only improves our immediate experience but also helps us grow as individuals. By connecting deeply with others, we learn to collaborate, understand different perspectives, and build richer and more meaningful connections. Flow in relationships reminds us that we are not alone, writes Mihaly. It is in these shared experiences that we find the true essence of our humanity. Final reflection. This chapter invites us to rethink our interactions with others. By seeking flow in our relationships, we not only enrich our connections but also create space for mutual growth and shared happiness. Mihaly leaves us with a key lesson. Flow is not just an individual experience but a bridge that connects us with others in deep and transformative ways. Chapter 12. Flow in education, learning with purpose. Flow not only enhances our work and personal experiences, but it is also a powerful tool in the realm of education. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how flow can transform learning for both students and educators. When teaching and learning are designed with the principles of flow, knowledge is not only acquired but also curiosity, engagement, and a love for learning are cultivated. The connection between flow and learning. Mihaly explains that learning is one of the human activities most conducive to experiencing flow. When we are immersed in learning something new, our minds are fully focused, facing challenges, and receiving constant feedback. However, not all learning generates flow. The author identifies the necessary conditions for learning to become an optimal experience. Clear goals. Knowing what we want to learn and why gives us direction and purpose. Adjusted challenges. The material should be challenging enough to capture our attention but not so difficult that it generates frustration. Constant feedback. Students need to know if they are progressing in the right direction and how to improve. How flow transforms students. When students experience flow, their relationship with learning changes profoundly. Increased intrinsic motivation. Learning becomes a pleasure, not just an obligation. Improved concentration. Students in flow can maintain their attention for longer periods. Fosters creative thinking. By being fully immersed, students are more likely to find original solutions and connect ideas. Flow allows students to enjoy the process of learning, writes Mihaly, and not just the final outcome. The role of the educator in generating flow. Mihaly emphasizes that educators play a crucial role in creating flow conditions for their students. To achieve this, he proposes the following strategies. Design meaningful activities. Tasks should be relevant to students' interests and connected to clear goals. Set appropriate challenges. It is important to find the balance between the student's skill level and the difficulty of the material. Encourage autonomy. Students should have some freedom to explore and make decisions about how to learn. Provide positive feedback. The feedback should be specific, constructive, and timely so that students know how to improve. The author also suggests that educators should be role models for flow. When teachers are passionate and fully engaged with what they teach, they transmit that energy to their students. Flow in different forms of learning. Flow is not limited to one type of learning. Mihaly describes how it can be experienced in different contexts. Academic learning. Solving complex math problems, writing persuasive essays, or conducting experiments in a laboratory. Practical learning. Mastering a new skill, such as woodworking, cooking, or gardening. Creative learning. Exploring painting, music, or theater, where creativity and concentration combine to generate flow. The author emphasizes that by diversifying activities, students have more opportunities to find areas where they can experience flow. The impact of flow on long-term learning. Flow not only makes learning more enjoyable but also has a lasting impact on students' lives. Boosts self-confidence. Overcoming challenges while in a state of flow increases confidence in one's abilities. Creates positive learning habits. Students who experience flow are more likely to seek new learning opportunities. Fosters resilience. Learning in a flow state helps students see mistakes as opportunities to improve rather than failures. How students can seek flow on their own. While educators play an important role, students can also take steps to experience flow in their learning. Set personal goals. Rather than learning only for an exam, students can set their own goals, such as mastering a subject or solving a specific problem. Create a conducive environment. Look for quiet, distraction-free spaces to study or practice. Break tasks into manageable steps. Breaking learning into small, achievable stages makes it easier to focus. Seek challenging activities. Facing tasks that require effort and overcoming obstacles keeps the mind engaged. Flow as a tool for modern education. Mihaly argues that flow is particularly relevant in the context of modern education, where students face constant distractions and information overload. By integrating the principles of flow, schools and universities can help students focus, engage, and find purpose in what they learn. Flow not only improves academic performance, writes Mihaly, but it also transforms learning into an experience that enriches life. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to both educators and students to adopt flow as a tool to redesign learning. Mihaly reminds us that learning should not be a tedious process, but an opportunity to experience the pleasure of growth and discovery. When learning becomes a source of flow, writes Mihaly, students not only acquire knowledge but also the ability to live a fuller, more meaningful life. This chapter leaves us with the certainty that flow has the power to transform education. By seeking the balance between challenges, skills, and purpose, we can turn learning into an experience that inspires, motivates, and prepares people to face the world with confidence and creativity. Chapter 13. The impact of flow on health and well-being. Flow not only enriches our experiences and improves our performance but also has a direct impact on our health and well-being. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discusses how flow influences our mind and body, helping us reduce stress, improve resilience, and find a more solid emotional balance. Flow as an antidote to stress. In modern life, stress is one of the leading causes of physical and mental health problems. However, Mihaly explains that flow can act as a powerful counterbalance. During flow, our attention is fully focused on the task, freeing us from worries and negative thoughts. We experience a sense of control over our actions, reducing anxiety and feelings of helplessness. Flow does not eliminate challenges, writes Mihaly, but it gives us the clarity and focus needed to face them more effectively. Physiological benefits of flow. Flow also has positive effects on our body. During this state, the brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, which are associated with pleasure, motivation, and well-being. These chemicals not only make us feel good, but also reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone, improve immune system function, increase our energy and physical endurance. The author notes that people who experience flow regularly tend to report fewer health issues and a greater sense of vitality. Flow and mental health. Mihaly argues that flow is also a powerful tool for protecting our mental health. When we are in flow, our mind is focused on the present, reducing rumination about the past or anxiety about the future. We experience a sense of purpose and achievement, which boosts our self-esteem. The feeling of connection with what we are doing helps us combat apathy and depression. The author suggests that flow can be especially helpful for people facing emotional challenges, as it provides a positive escape and a means to rebuild their confidence. Flow as a source of resilience. Another important benefit of flow is that it strengthens our resilience, meaning our ability to face and overcome difficulties. Mihaly explains that when we experience flow, we learn to focus on what we can control rather than worrying about what is beyond our reach. Each challenge overcome in flow prepares us to face larger problems in the future. We connect with a sense of purpose that gives us strength in difficult times. How to incorporate flow into our lives to improve health. Mihaly offers practical advice for integrating flow into our daily routines and harnessing its benefits for health and well-being. Identify activities that generate flow. Reflect on tasks that make you lose track of time and feel satisfaction when completing them. Set aside time for flow. Dedicate specific time to these activities, ensuring you eliminate distractions and create an optimal environment. Balance challenges and skills. Adjust tasks so they are challenging enough to keep you engaged, but not so difficult that they lead to frustration. Use flow as a break from stress. When facing stressful situations, turn to activities that generate flow as a way to recharge your mind and body. Flow as a complement to modern medicine. Mihaly notes that although flow does not replace medical treatments, it can be a valuable complement. For example, patients dealing with chronic illnesses or pain find relief and purpose by engaging in activities that generate flow. This not only improves their quality of life but can also positively impact their recovery. Examples of flow's impact on health. The author shares cases where flow has transformed people's lives. An athlete who uses flow in training to overcome injuries and stay focused on recovery. A person who finds gardening a way to relieve stress and strengthen their immune system. An artist who uses flow in their creative work as a means to combat depression. These examples illustrate how flow can become a tool to transform our relationship with the body and mind. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to view flow not just as a pleasurable experience, but as an essential resource for our health and well-being. Mihaly reminds us that by prioritizing activities that connect us with flow, we not only improve our quality of life but also build a stronger foundation to face the challenges of everyday life. Flow is not just a pleasurable experience, writes Mihaly, it is a means to take care of our health, strengthen our mind, and live a more balanced and meaningful life. This chapter leaves us with the certainty that flow is not a luxury, but a necessity for those who seek not only physical and emotional well-being, but also a full and resilient life. By integrating flow into our routines, we can find a balance that allows us to thrive even in the most difficult circumstances. Chapter 14. How to avoid boredom and anxiety. Flow arises in the delicate balance between challenges and skills. But what happens when we don't reach this balance? In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how boredom and anxiety block flow and offers strategies to overcome these states and return to the optimal experience. Boredom, when challenges are too low. Boredom occurs when an activity does not present enough of a challenge for our skills. We feel disconnected, demotivated, and uninterested. According to Mihaly, boredom is a mental state that can lead to apathy if not consciously addressed. Common examples of boredom: performing repetitive and monotonous tasks, participating in activities that lack a clear purpose, lacking goals that motivate or inspire us. The author points out that boredom is not only a waste of time but a missed opportunity for personal growth. How to overcome boredom? Increase the challenges. Find ways to make the task more interesting or challenging. For example, if you're doing repetitive work, set personal goals for efficiency or accuracy. Connect the activity with a greater purpose. Reflect on how this task contributes to your long-term goals or the well-being of others. Learn something new. Find ways to incorporate elements of learning into the activity. Anxiety, when challenges are too high. On the other end, anxiety occurs when we face challenges that exceed our current abilities. We feel overwhelmed, insecure, and stressed. This state not only blocks flow but can also diminish our confidence and motivation. Common examples of anxiety: facing an urgent deadline without the necessary tools to complete the task, taking on responsibilities for which we are unprepared, feeling pressured by unrealistic external expectations. How to overcome anxiety? Reduce the challenge. Break the task into smaller, more manageable parts. Tackle each step gradually rather than trying to solve everything at once. Improve your skills. Spend time learning and practicing the skills needed to face the challenge. Seek support. Ask for help or advice from experienced people in the field. Sharing the load can alleviate pressure. Change your perspective. Instead of focusing on the final outcome, concentrate on the small progress you make during the process. How to find the balance between challenge and skill. Mihaly argues that the key to avoiding both boredom and anxiety is to continuously adjust challenges and our skills to stay within the flow zone. This requires a conscious and proactive approach. Practical strategies to find balance. Assess your situation. Identify if you are experiencing boredom or anxiety. Reflect on whether the problem lies in the level of challenge, your skills, or both. Make gradual adjustments. If the challenge is low, gradually increase its complexity. If it is too high, reduce it to a manageable level while working on your skills. Set intermediate goals. Break down your objectives into achievable steps that keep you motivated and focused. Monitor your progress. Regularly check how you feel about the task. This will help you make adjustments before boredom or anxiety take over. The role of intrinsic motivation. Mihaly emphasizes that intrinsic motivation is essential for overcoming both boredom and anxiety. When we are motivated by the enjoyment of the task itself, instead of seeking external rewards, we are more likely to strive for the balance necessary for flow. Examples of intrinsic motivation: enjoying the process of learning a new skill, regardless of the outcome. Feeling satisfaction from solving a problem or completing a project. Experiencing the pleasure of creativity in an artistic task. Boredom and anxiety as opportunities for growth. The author emphasizes that both boredom and anxiety, though uncomfortable, can be catalysts for change and growth. Each signals that something needs to be adjusted in our activities or our approach to challenges. How to turn these states into opportunities. Use boredom as a signal to explore new ideas, interests, or goals. Use anxiety as motivation to develop skills or seek support. Boredom and anxiety are reminders that we are not living up to our full potential, writes Mihaly. By listening to them and taking action, we can redirect ourselves towards flow. Exercises to overcome boredom and anxiety. Mihaly suggests practical exercises to find balance between challenge and skill. Flow journal. Write about your daily experiences, identifying moments when you felt bored or anxious, and reflect on how you could have adjusted the situation. Try something new, find an activity you've never tried before but are interested in, and set a specific goal for it. Practice mindfulness. Use meditation or breathing techniques to center yourself and reduce anxiety. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to see boredom and anxiety not as barriers but as guides that lead us to flow. Mihaly reminds us that finding the balance between challenge and skill is not always easy, but it is a worthwhile effort to live with greater purpose and satisfaction. Flow doesn't happen by accident, writes Mihaly. It is the result of a conscious effort to adjust our relationship with challenges and skills. By doing so, we transform even the most ordinary tasks into extraordinary experiences. This chapter leaves us with a key lesson. Flow is not a static state but a dynamic process that requires constant attention and adjustments. By learning how to manage boredom and anxiety, we not only avoid these states but also move closer to a fuller and more balanced life. Chapter 15. The Role of Culture in Flow and Happiness. The culture in which we live deeply influences our ability to experience flow and achieve happiness. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how cultural norms, social expectations, and shared values shape our experiences and our relationship with flow. He also offers strategies to find flow even in challenging cultural contexts. Culture as a framework for flow. Mihaly defines culture as the set of values, norms, and traditions that guide our actions and thoughts. While culture can facilitate flow by providing structure and meaning, it can also impose barriers that hinder our ability to focus on meaningful activities. For example, cultures that value creativity and innovation tend to facilitate flow experiences in work and the arts. Cultures that prioritize extreme productivity or conformity may hinder flow by imposing external pressures and restrictions. Culture can be both a facilitator and an obstacle for flow, writes Mihaly. It depends on how we interact with its values and norms. How culture affects our relationship with time. An important aspect of culture is how it influences our perception of time. In some cultures, time is valued as a scarce resource that must be maximized, which can lead to stress and anxiety. In others, time is seen as fluid, allowing for greater flexibility and enjoyment of activities. Mihaly explains that cultures that emphasize time as a resource to be maximized may hinder flow by imposing constant distractions and pressures. To counter this, we must learn to control our attention and prioritize activities that bring meaning. The impact of cultural values on flow. Cultural values also determine what activities are considered valuable or worthy of our time. For example, in cultures that value individuality, people are more likely to seek flow in creative or personal activities. In cultures that prioritize community, flow may be more commonly experienced in group or social activities. The author suggests that, regardless of culture, it is possible to find flow by identifying activities that resonate with our personal values. How to overcome cultural barriers to flow. Mihaly acknowledges that we cannot always change our culture, but we can adjust our relationship with it to facilitate flow. Here are some strategies. Identify your own values. Reflect on which aspects of your culture align with your interests and goals, and which may be limiting you. Redefine success. Instead of blindly following cultural expectations, set your own standards of success and satisfaction. Seek supportive communities. Connect with people who share your interests and values, even if they are not widely represented in your culture. Create an environment conducive to flow. While cultural norms may be restrictive, you can design your personal space and time to maximize flow opportunities. Examples of cultures that facilitate flow. Mihaly presents examples of cultures that have created environments conducive to flow. Creativity-oriented cultures. Countries like Finland and Sweden value innovation and offer educational systems that encourage interest-based learning and creativity. Community cultures. In some indigenous communities, work and leisure are integrated in ways that both foster flow through collaboration and shared purpose. The author highlights that there is no perfect culture, but each one can offer lessons on how to find the balance between challenges, skills, and meaning. The role of cultural leaders. Mihaly emphasizes that cultural leaders, such as educators, artists, and entrepreneurs have the responsibility to create spaces where people can experience flow. This includes designing educational systems that prioritize active learning and engagement, fostering work environments that allow autonomy and creativity, promoting cultural values that celebrate effort, growth, and the intrinsic enjoyment of activities. Flow in a globalized culture. In an increasingly globalized world, we have access to a variety of cultural influences. This can be an advantage in finding flow, as we can adopt practices and values from different cultures that align with our goals and preferences. For example, incorporating meditation from Eastern cultures to improve focus. Learning to enjoy leisure time by following models from cultures that prioritize work-life balance. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to be aware of the impact of culture on our lives. Mihaly reminds us that, although we cannot change our culture immediately, we can make decisions that bring us closer to flow and happiness by aligning with our values and designing our experiences with intention. Culture can be an ally or an obstacle for flow, writes Mihaly. By understanding its influence, we can take control of our experiences and create a fuller, more meaningful life. This chapter leaves us with the certainty that by understanding how culture influences our lives, we can work to find flow even in the most challenging contexts. The key is to discover our own motivations and priorities and use them as a compass to navigate the cultural environment in which we live. Chapter 16. Finding Flow in Everyday Tasks. Flow is not exclusive to exceptional activities like art, sports, or creative work. It can also be experienced in the simplest, everyday tasks, as long as we approach these activities with the right mindset. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how we can transform daily routines into sources of satisfaction and meaning through flow. The potential of flow in the everyday. Mihaly argues that daily tasks, while often perceived as boring or tedious, can become flow experiences if we find ways to connect them to our personal goals or approach them creatively. Examples of everyday tasks that can generate flow. Cooking a detailed meal with attention to detail. Organizing your workspace or home with a clear purpose. Engaging in physical exercise, focusing on movement and bodily sensations. Flow does not depend on the activity itself, writes Mihaly, but on how we relate to it. How to find meaning in daily tasks. The author suggests that the first step in experiencing flow in everyday tasks is to find a purpose in them. This can be achieved by reflecting on how these activities contribute to your well-being or the well-being of others. Strategies for finding meaning. Connect the task with your personal goals. For example, cleaning your home can relate to your desire to live in an orderly and relaxing environment. Recognize the impact of the task. Consider how your activity benefits other people, such as preparing a nutritious meal for your family. Transform the task into a challenge, set specific goals, or find ways to make the activity more interesting or efficient. The role of mindfulness in everyday tasks. Mindfulness is a key tool for experiencing flow in ordinary activities. By giving full attention to the present moment, we stop perceiving the task as an obligation and begin to enjoy the process. Mindfulness practices for daily tasks. When washing dishes, focus on the sensation of the water, the soap, and the movements of your hands. When walking, pay attention to your steps, your breathing, and the surroundings. When writing an email, focus on expressing your ideas clearly and precisely. Transforming boredom into opportunity. Mihaly notes that boredom in everyday tasks is often an indicator that we are disconnected from their purpose or not fully utilizing our skills. How to overcome boredom in repetitive activities. Add a creative element. For example, experiment with new recipes while cooking or reorganize your space in an innovative way. Set clear goals. Break the task into concrete steps and establish an end goal, such as finishing within a certain time frame or improving the quality of your work. Use the task as a moment for meditation. Focus on the sensory aspects and let the repetition of the activity calm your mind. Flow in everyday interactions. In addition to individual activities, Mihaly argues that we can also find flow in our daily interactions with others. For example, having a meaningful conversation with a friend or colleague, helping someone solve a problem, focusing entirely on their situation, collaborating with others on a project, sharing ideas and efforts. Exercises to find flow in the everyday. Mihaly suggests practical exercises to transform daily tasks into flow experiences. Choose a task you find tedious. Spend one day doing it mindfully with the goal of improving in some aspect. Make a list of daily goals. Set clear objectives for the activities you will do, focusing on both the results and the process. Reflect on your experience. After completing the task, write down how you felt by giving it more attention and focus. Flow as a tool for improving quality of life. Mihaly concludes the chapter by explaining that finding flow in everyday tasks not only helps us become more productive but also transforms our relationship with daily life. By experiencing flow in simple activities, we learn to value the present moment and find satisfaction in what we do, no matter how ordinary it may seem. Flow in daily tasks reminds us that happiness does not depend on big events, writes Mihaly, but on how we choose to live each moment. Final reflection. This chapter leaves us with a powerful lesson. We don't need to wait for big opportunities to experience flow. By approaching our everyday tasks with attention, we can transform them into meaningful and fulfilling experiences. Purpose and creativity. We can transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. Mihaly invites us to seek flow in every corner of our daily lives, discovering that even the simplest activities can be sources of joy and meaning. Chapter 17. Overcoming obstacles to flow. Although flow can transform our lives, achieving it is not always easy. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi identifies the main obstacles that prevent us from entering flow and offers strategies to overcome them. Learning to manage these barriers is essential for enjoying more fulfilling and satisfying experiences. Main obstacles to flow. Mihaly points out that barriers to experiencing flow can be both internal and external. These include external distractions. In a world filled with notifications, noise, and constant demands, it's easy to lose the focus needed to enter flow. Example, trying to concentrate on an important task while your phone keeps ringing. Lack of clear goals. When we don't know exactly what we want to achieve, it's difficult to commit our attention and energy. Example, feeling unmotivated when approaching a project without clear direction. Anxiety and stress. Concerns about the future or current problems can consume our attention, preventing us from focusing on the present moment. Example, feeling overwhelmed by a deadline while working on a complex task. Lack of skills or insufficient challenges. When the challenge is too great, we feel frustrated. If it's too small, we get bored. Example, feeling unmotivated by a routine task or frustrated when faced with a problem that exceeds your abilities. Adverse physical or mental conditions, fatigue, lack of energy, or poor emotional states make it difficult to focus enough to experience flow. Example, trying to be productive after a bad night's sleep. How to overcome barriers to flow. The author offers practical strategies for overcoming these obstacles and creating the conditions necessary for flow. Eliminate external distractions. Create a dedicated environment. Work in a space free from interruptions, such as a clean desk or a quiet room. Turn off notifications. Silence your phone and other devices while focusing on a task. Set boundaries. Communicate to those around you when you need uninterrupted time. Set clear and achievable goals. Break down large tasks. Break complex projects into manageable steps with specific goals. Focus on immediate results. Define what you want to achieve in a work session or during the day. Review your goals regularly. Make sure they remain relevant and motivating. Manage anxiety and stress. Practice mindfulness. Use techniques like meditation or deep breathing to center yourself in the present moment. Prioritize tasks. Tackle the most urgent or challenging tasks first to relieve pressure. Change your perspective. Focus on the process rather than worrying about the final outcome. Adjust the balance between challenge and skill. Increase challenges. If you're bored, add elements that make the task more interesting or complex. Improve your skills. Spend time learning or practicing what you need to face challenging tasks. Simplify the task. If you're frustrated, break the activity into smaller, more achievable steps. For many, take care of your physical and mental state. Rest properly. Sleep enough to ensure you have the energy needed to focus. Maintain healthy habits. Good nutrition and regular exercise contribute to better focus. Take breaks. Take regular breaks to recharge your mental energy and avoid burnout. The role of mindset in overcoming barriers. Mihaly emphasizes that our attitude toward challenges is key to overcoming the barriers to flow. Instead of seeing obstacles as insurmountable problems, we should view them as opportunities to grow and learn. Flow requires a conscious commitment to our goals and an effort to overcome both internal and external barriers, writes Mihaly. Practical exercises for overcoming obstacles. The author proposes exercises to apply these strategies in daily life. Eliminate a distraction. Identify a recurring distraction and find ways to minimize its impact. Set a small, clear goal. Before starting any activity, define exactly what you want to achieve. Reflect on your internal barriers. Spend time identifying thoughts or emotions that hinder your focus and find ways to manage them. How to create a flow habit. Overcoming obstacles is not something that happens immediately. Mihaly suggests we must consistently work to establish conditions that favor flow in our daily activities. Over time, this becomes a habit that allows us to enjoy more moments of focus and satisfaction. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to view obstacles as a natural part of the process toward flow. Mihaly reminds us that, although overcoming these barriers requires effort, the benefits are immense: a fuller, more satisfying, and controlled life. Flow doesn't happen by accident, writes Mihaly. It is the result of our commitment to transform every moment into an opportunity to grow and enjoy. This chapter leaves us with the certainty that, by learning to manage distractions, adjust our goals, and stay focused, we can overcome the obstacles to flow and experience more moments of happiness and meaning in our daily lives. Chapter 18. Flow as a tool for self-realization. Flow not only improves our productivity and daily enjoyment but also serves as a powerful tool for achieving self-realization. In this chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how flow helps us explore our potential, find our purpose, and live a life aligned with our deepest values. Self-realization and flow. Mihaly defines self-realization as the process of reaching our fullest potential and living in harmony with our skills, interests, and values. Flow plays a crucial role in this process by offering us a sense of purpose. Activities that generate flow are often aligned with what matters to us and motivates us. Personal growth. By facing challenges in a state of flow, we develop new skills and strengthen our confidence. Connection with the present. Flow helps us let go of external worries and focus on what truly matters. Flow not only allows us to enjoy the present moment, writes Mihaly, but it also propels us toward a fuller and more meaningful life. Flow as a path to self-knowledge. Flow gives us clues about who we are and what motivates us. By reflecting on the activities that generate flow, we can identify our passions, interests, and strengths. These activities are often connected to our deeper personal goals. Example: a person who experiences flow when teaching may discover that their calling is related to sharing knowledge and helping others learn. How flow fosters personal growth. Mihaly explains that flow helps us grow by pushing us out of our comfort zone. When we face challenges that are slightly above our abilities, we expand our capacities and prepare ourselves to tackle even greater challenges. Every time we experience flow, writes Mihaly, we move one step closer to our best version. Flow and life purpose. Activities that generate flow are often linked to our life purpose, as they connect us with our passions and values. By identifying these activities and prioritizing them in our lives, we can design an existence that aligns with what truly matters. How to find your purpose through flow. Identify meaningful activities. Reflect on moments when you lose track of time and feel fully engaged. Look for patterns. Observe what these activities have in common and how they relate to your values and interests. Set aligned goals. Design your life in a way that allows you to dedicate more time to these activities, whether in your work, leisure time, or relationships. Overcoming internal barriers to self-realization. Often, our fears and doubts prevent us from achieving self-realization. Flow helps us overcome these internal barriers by reducing the fear of failure. During flow, we are so focused on the task that we stop worrying about the outcome. Strengthening confidence in our abilities, every time we overcome a challenge in a state of flow, we boost our self-confidence. Connecting with our true self, by fully focusing on the present moment, we disconnect from external expectations and connect with who we truly are. Flow in different areas of self-realization. Mihaly explains that flow can facilitate self-realization in various areas of our lives. In work, choosing a career or project that generates flow not only makes us more productive but also more fulfilled. In leisure, spending time on hobbies that we are passionate about and that allow personal growth is essential for a balanced life. In relationships, building meaningful connections and experiencing flow with others strengthens our sense of community and belonging. How to design a life around flow. Mihaly suggests that to use flow as a tool for self-realization, we need to design our life in a way that favors the conditions necessary to experience it. This involves prioritizing flow-generating activities. Regularly dedicate time to tasks that you are passionate about and that challenge you. Setting personal goals. Define clear objectives that bring you closer to your ideals and values. Developing skills. Invest time in learning and improving to tackle increasingly bigger challenges. Reflecting on your experiences, regularly assess which activities bring you closer to your purpose and how you can integrate them more into your life. Practical exercises to use flow in self-realization. Create a map of your flow experiences. List the activities that generate flow for you and reflect on how you can incorporate them more into your routine. Set a personal challenge. Identify a goal that is important to you and break the path toward it into manageable steps that allow you to experience flow at each stage. Dedicate time to self-knowledge. Use flow as a tool to explore your interests and discover new passions. Final reflection. Mihaly concludes the chapter by emphasizing that flow is not only a pleasurable experience but also a means to reach our best version. By seeking flow in our daily activities, we not only enjoy the present but also build a future that aligns with our goals and values. Flow is a window into our potential, writes Mihaly. It shows us what we are capable of doing and inspires us to continue growing and exploring. This chapter leaves us with a powerful lesson. Flow is much more than a state of concentration and enjoyment. It is a transformative tool that allows us to discover who we are, what motivates us, and how we can live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Chapter 19. Building a Life in Harmony with Flow. In this penultimate chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi explores how we can design a life that integrates flow as a central element. This approach not only allows us to experience more moments of enjoyment and productivity but also helps us live a more balanced, meaningful life, connected to our purpose. Flow as a lifestyle. Mihaly argues that flow should not be something we experience only in isolated moments but rather an integral part of our daily life. To achieve this, we need to reorganize our priorities, find meaningful activities, and learn to manage our time and attention intentionally. A life in harmony with flow is one where the activities we engage in connect us with our purpose and allow us to grow continuously, writes Mihaly. How to identify key flow activities. The first step in building a life based on flow is identifying the activities that we are most passionate about and that generate this state. Mihaly suggests reflecting on the following questions. What activities make me lose track of time? When do I feel most satisfied and fulfilled? What challenges do I enjoy facing and overcoming? Once these activities are identified, we can look for ways to integrate them more into our daily routine. Balancing work, leisure, and relationships. To build a life in harmony with flow, it is essential to balance three key areas. Work. Find ways to experience flow in your profession or work activities, whether by adjusting your goals, learning new skills, or seeking projects that excite you. Leisure. Dedicate time to recreational activities that challenge you and connect you with your interests. Avoid falling into passive leisure that doesn't provide lasting satisfaction. Relationships. Build meaningful bonds with others by engaging in shared activities that generate flow, such as sports, creative projects, or deep conversations. The role of long-term goals. Mihaly emphasizes that building a life in harmony with flow requires clear long-term goals to serve as a guide. These goals help us structure our life and prioritize activities that bring us closer to our objectives. Characteristics of effective goals. Specific and achievable. Defining what we want to achieve gives us clarity and focus. Connected to our values. Goals should align with what we consider important and meaningful. Adaptable. Allowing for adjustments based on our circumstances and learnings helps us stay motivated. Managing time and attention. One of the biggest challenges in building a life in harmony with flow is managing time and attention in a world full of distractions. Mihaly offers the following strategies. Plan your days. Dedicate specific time to activities that generate flow, ensuring you include both work and leisure. Eliminate distractions. Create an environment that fosters concentration and minimizes interruptions. Set priorities. Focus on tasks that are most meaningful and contribute to your long-term goals. How to maintain balance in difficult times. Life doesn't always offer the ideal conditions for flow. In times of stress, change, or challenges, it's easy to lose balance. Mihaly suggests that even in these moments, we can find small opportunities to experience flow and reconnect with what matters to us. Strategies to maintain flow in difficult times. Find purpose in simple tasks, such as organizing your space or going for a walk. Use flow activities as a way to recharge your mental and emotional energy. Reflect on what you can learn from the situation and how it is helping you grow. The impact of a life in harmony with flow. Mihaly points out that people who integrate flow into their daily life tend to be happier, more resilient, and more satisfied. This lifestyle allows them to experience more moments of enjoyment and purpose. Face challenges with greater confidence and creativity. Build more meaningful and balanced relationships. A life in harmony with flow is not a life without problems, writes Mihaly, but a life where challenges become opportunities for growth and enjoyment. Practical exercises to integrate flow into your life. Create a flow schedule. Dedicate time each week to activities that generate flow, ensuring you include work, leisure, and relationships. Evaluate your priorities. Reflect on how you are spending your time and adjust your activities to align with your goals and values. Set a flow goal. Choose a specific activity where you want to experience flow more regularly and work to optimize the necessary conditions. Final reflection. The chapter concludes with an invitation to redesign our life with flow as a central guide. Mihaly reminds us that, although the path to a life in harmony with flow requires effort and commitment, the benefits are immeasurable. Flow is not just a momentary experience, writes Mihaly. It is a way of living that allows us to reach our full potential and find happiness in every step of the way. This chapter leaves us with the certainty that building a life in harmony with flow is not only possible but essential for those seeking a full, balanced, and meaningful existence. Chapter 20. Conclusion. Creating a full and meaningful life. In this final chapter, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi brings together the central ideas of his work and invites us to reflect on how we can apply flow to all aspects of our lives. He reminds us that flow is not just a pleasurable experience, but a tool for building a fuller, more meaningful life aligned with our purpose. Flow as the essence of happiness. Mihaly explains that happiness does not come from external circumstances, such as material success or social recognition, but from how we experience the present moment. Flow connects us with that authentic happiness because it anchors us in the present. By being fully focused, we set aside worries and distractions. It gives us purpose. Every flow activity has clear goals that motivate us and allow us to grow. It generates intrinsic satisfaction. We enjoy the activity itself, regardless of external results. Flow is the optimal experience of life, writes Mihaly, a state in which we are fully ourselves and reach our full potential. Key principles to integrate flow into life. The author summarizes the key principles we have explored throughout the book, which are essential for living with flow. Find the balance between challenge and skill. Seek activities that challenge you enough to maintain your interest but are manageable with your abilities. Set clear goals. Define what you want to achieve in each activity to keep your attention and energy focused. Eliminate distractions. Create an environment that fosters total concentration. Enjoy the process. Focus on the experience of the activity, not just its outcomes. How to transform your life with flow. Mihaly offers practical steps to apply flow in different areas of our life. At work, find ways to make your tasks more interesting and meaningful. Look for projects that excite you and set motivating goals. In leisure, dedicate time to activities that connect you with your passions, such as hobbies or sports. Avoid passive leisure and seek activities that challenge your skills. In relationships, engage in shared activities that foster flow, such as team projects or deep conversations. For many, practice mindfulness when interacting with others, setting aside distractions and judgments. In daily life, find purpose in simple tasks, such as cooking, cleaning, or walking. Use these activities as opportunities to practice concentration and enjoy the present moment. Flow as a path to self-realization. Mihaly emphasizes that flow not only helps us enjoy daily life but also guides us towards self-realization. By seeking flow experiences, we discover our passions, strengthen our skills, and move closer to our life's purpose. Each flow experience is a step toward a life more aligned with who we are and what we want to be, writes Mihaly. A call to action. The author concludes the chapter by inviting us to take control of our daily experience. While we cannot control all external circumstances, we can always choose how to respond to them. By applying the principles of flow, we can transform even the most challenging moments into opportunities for growth and enjoyment. How to get started? Reflect on your past flow experiences and what activities triggered them. Identify areas in your life where you can apply flow, whether in work, leisure, or relationships. Make a plan to integrate flow into your daily routine, starting with small goals and adjustments. Final reflection. Mihaly ends the book with an uplifting message. Flow is not something reserved for special moments or a few people. It is a universal human ability that we can all cultivate. By doing so, we not only transform our daily experience but also build a richer, more balanced, and meaningful life. Flow is the key to unlocking our potential and living with purpose, writes Mihaly. It is the art of transforming each moment into an opportunity to be, grow, and enjoy. This final chapter leaves us with the certainty that flow is much more than a transient state. It is a lifestyle that can transform our relationship with ourselves, others, and the world around us. By integrating flow into our daily activities, we can build a life that is not only productive but also deeply satisfying and full of meaning. Thus, we conclude this fascinating work, Flow, The Psychology of Happiness by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This book has shown us that flow is the key to living a fuller life, where the balance between challenge and skill transforms our daily activities into experiences full of meaning. I hope these ideas serve as a guide to discovering new ways to connect with your purpose and build a life richer in satisfaction and growth. If this content has inspired you and you want to keep learning with us, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Here at Audio Mentors, we continue bringing the best books, with practical teachings to transform your life. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in the next audiobook.